So Dr. Berne, what core experiences or influences have you had that have really had an impact on who you are and your role as a leader?
So I'm going to talk about a couple experiences, and then I'll talk about some people that influenced me. I think my most salient core experience is really being a mother and having to understand how people traverse the world, and thinking about being an advocate for your own children. When I work with students, I always think to myself, how would I want my own children treated? And how would I want an institution to embrace my child? And I think it sounds like a small thing, but I think it's really resonant, to feel every day that you're representing the college, and that the representation of the college goes home with the student. And the student says to their loved ones, this is what happened to me at Madison College. And I want that to be a positive experience. So that's one thing that I think really is a core experience. Another one, I used to work with teachers, helping them implement best practices in writing instruction. And I was working with a teacher in Manuka, Illinois. Shout out to them. It's a great small district. And we were talking about some new practices in writing instruction, and she got tears in her eyes, and she said, oh my goodness, I've been doing it wrong all these years. And I remember thinking, that is the rightest thing I've ever heard, which is a person who can reflect on what they've been doing and are really, in some ways, pained by feeling like they weren't doing it well enough. Of course, she was doing it well enough, but that's sort of the dissonance of learning, which is having to go back and rethink things that you've done in the past so that you can move to the future. So I found that also just very useful as I talk to people about change, which is very hard. And I never want people to think because we're trying to do it this way now doesn't mean anything about the way we were doing it. You or we were doing it in the past. So I think that's also a really important memory. I also have memories of mentors that I've had who've influenced me tremendously. I had a mentor who said, overcommunicate by a factor of 10. And as a teacher, I would say things many, many times, and I would get kind of tired of myself saying them. And then when I put that sort of sentiment together, I thought, I'm saying it over and over, but people really, it takes them a long time to hear it. It takes me a long time to hear things that other people are saying. So I think that's, and she also said, over-communicate by a factor of 10 and communicate it in different ways, because people have different ways of hearing. I had another mentor who told me really importantly, work with each student individually, but when you do policy for the 99%. So don't think every time you try to do something where there's this one student that won't work for. You really have to, again, work with every student individually, because every student is sort of an N of one and has their own unique issues and gifts and challenges. But when you're making larger policy, make it for most people, because if you are trying to be perfect, you'll never get to good, right? So I think that was a second thing. And then finally, I had a dynamic mentor who said the very simple thing, which is control your controllables. And in this age of so much pressure on higher education and so many things coming down from lots of different places, above and beyond and over and under, we can control our controllables. We can control the things that are within our realm, and we will do so with ethics and in the best way possible.
Thank you so much for that, Dr. Berne. That gives great insight into who you are as a leader.